There is a self-education process, and then jointly with your intended partner or spouse. The self-education part should come first. In California, this is a community property state. So there are two rights and obligations that attach immediately upon marriage. You don't have to do anything. They automatically attach. One is the community property law, and what that is when you buy something or your earnings during marriage, that's community property. You might think it shouldn't be, but under law, it automatically becomes community property. The other aspect is spousal support. Once you marry, you are obligated to support the other spouse. So let's say that you have this $1 million earner and the $50,000 earner. They will live at a lifestyle more like the $1 million earner. They won't be down at the $50,000 earner. That establishes a marital standard of living. So if they divorce later on, the person who earns greater amount of money is going to have to substantially pay spousal support to the lower wage earner, because he won't be able, or she won't be able, to pay for that kind of standard of living on her own or his own. So those are rights and obligations that really need to be fully understood before you enter into marriage. And how do you deal with those two rights? You and I both know that a prenuptial agreement can literally change those two rights. They can totally negate those two rights. The prenuptial agreement has to be written properly, but it can state very clearly that whatever I bring into the relationship, whatever property, it's mine. And whatever property I acquire during the marriage and whatever I earn during the marriage, it's mine, and it's not community. You can do that with a prenuptial agreement.
Well, that would be important if two people are contemplating marriage and say one of them owns a home, yes, and the other one does not. Of course, you're going to move in together.
Yeah.
So in this agreement, and a prenuptial agreement, a lot of people, I think, are scared of that word prenuptial agreement. It maybe just has a bad stigma on it for some celebrity reason or something. Mm. I call it, the way that I describe it is, what you're actually doing is you are memorializing your intentions. You're getting on the same page. I make this kind of money, you make that kind of money. I own the home, so let's decide how you're going to contribute into this household. Are we going to cut everything 50-50? Are we going to pay all of our own bills and only pay the joint expenses together? These are all things that we have, that both parties can make that decision. And that's all of that stuff is what goes in this prenuptial agreement. So God forbid if it doesn't work out, you pull out the paperwork, you know what's going to happen. It's not going to be pleasant when you split up, but you don't have to fight. I want the dog. I want that piece of, china. That's mine.
Yes.
You're not going to have any of that on the back end.
And it's amazing how people can get fixated on the forks and the knives and the spoons. That's kind of a term of art that we use in this business of divorce, when divorcing spouses get fixated on something that you could probably replace for a very small amount of money. They'd rather spend $10,000, $20,000 just litigating the forks, the knives, and the spoons, rather than going out and buying new.
And let me tell you this, from a financial aspect, darlings, consulting with a good accountant, how many times have I said this? There are two or three things that everybody needs to do, and in the context of same-sex marriage, you need a good attorney and a good accountant.
Yes.
First and foremost. And I mean, do you really want to be a consultation up front with Paula? I'm going to venture to say is going to be a lot less expensive than hiring her on the back end when you're trying to keep the other half of your house that you're going to have to be paying to your soon-to-be ex.
There's no question. In this day and age, it can easily